mountains when I'm ocean waves.
Today on Nova Legends podcast, I have Mary Washington's soccer coach, Jason Kilby, whose team just qualified for the NCAA Division III tournament after winning the Coast2Coast Conference tournament. Coach, congratulations and thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We're very excited.
Yeah, there's nothing like a tournament run. But before you get to your great team, I'd like to hear a little bit about your background. I understand you played at Frostburg State, and I believe you also coached there. So how did you get started in soccer, and how did you end up at Frostburg?
Yeah, so I grew up nearby here in Culpeper, small little town, and played club there. And one of my coaches from the area was Carl Gray, who's still involved with ODP.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And actually his brother is Bobby Gray, the former head coach at Marshall University.
Mm-hmm.
He and Carl attended Frostburg, and I was looking for a school, and that's a long time ago, right? Like, I don't know, like 30 years ago. And so he kind of said, hey, he took me up to Frostburg and showed me around. And I'm a big outdoors kind of person. I love to snowboard, ski, mountain bike. And so it was a great opportunity for me at the time. And he played with Coach Jay Hegman at the time. That was one of his teammates. So introduced me to Coach Hegman. Ended up at Frostburg. Had a great career. Really enjoyed my time there. And then just again, I love the game. I was fortunate that my parents are very supportive and just kind of helped me through the process of, hey, find something you love to do. Hopefully you can make ends meet, and then you really won't work a day. Yeah, that's what they said. Well, we're still going to all work, but it's enjoyable, right? I have passion for it. Been involved. Been very fortunate to be around a lot of good mentors, Coach Hegman, Coach Gray, and several others that have helped me through the process. And so then I ended up, after playing, I tried to play in the USL a little bit. Got humbled. Definitely humbling experience. Around a lot of good people there. Also learned a lot, and figured out I was a solid player, but not good enough to really make ends meet from that standpoint. So what was the next best thing for me to stay involved? And so coaching at the college level. Fortunately, was an assistant there at Frostburg for a few years. And then Coach Thompson, he was athletic director at North Carolina Wesleyan College. He hired me there as a young, inexperienced coach. Very grateful for that. And I was there for approximately 10 years before I've been, came here. I think I've been here, 12, 13 years, somewhere around that. So
when you first started coaching at North Carolina Wesleyan, how'd you decide what kind of coach you wanted to be and how you're going to play? Which of the coaches did you model after, and what was that process?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of that was modeled after Coach Hegman, at Frostburg. We had a lot of success there. And he was, again, a great mentor for me, still is. And again, learning from a lot of others. What became really valuable for me at North Carolina Wesleyan, we did a lot of international recruiting there. So I started in 2002. By 2005, we picked up our first German player, who actually Coach Oliver Weiss sent me because he wasn't eligible based on he was too old, and we didn't have an age restriction at Division III. So I picked up a young man that really helped us, and then I was able to travel a lot. So I went to 17 different countries during my time at North Carolina Wesleyan. So I got to travel around the world, meet a lot of successful coaches and players, and just watch training sessions. And so I think a lot of those experiences helped influence me. I mean, I've been to Iceland a couple of times, through Europe, Australia, Central and South America, Gambia, West Africa. I was able to bring Mamadou Danzo, Footy. His name is, we call him Footy, to North Carolina Wesleyan. And he ended up playing 5 years for the Portland Timbers, 6 years, starting center back for the Portland Timbers, number 98, Mamadou Danzo, Footy. So that was my assistant at the time was Frankie Tao, who's now currently the head coach at Bethany College. He's from the Gambia, West Africa. So his mother was nice enough to put me up. And so I stayed there for 2 weeks back in maybe it was 2005, somewhere around that time. And yeah, just again, those experiences really help shape. And then, Coach Webb's been my assistant here for 33 years. He's fantastic. He's a legend. He is another great resource for me and my assistants, right? So just kind of putting all that together, and it's always changing, right? We're always trying to find the newest or a better way to do things, right? More efficient, more effective way to do things.
Yeah.
I think that's part of learning, right? We're always learning.
Yeah. So why did you decide to come to Mary Washington? A beautiful town, nice school.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I was very, very fortunate. So my wife's family's from the Maryland area. And again, I told you I was from Culpeper nearby, about 45 minutes from Fredericksburg to Culpeper. So Coach Gordon, again, another great mentor, fantastic coach, still comes out. I'm still get to go to lunch with him every now and then, or coffee. And so he's very excited. And when I found out he was going to retire, not excited that he was retiring, but the job was open. And so I wanted to come back closer to home, right? I want to be closer to my family, my wife's family. And so that was one of the main reasons. And then I knew they have had a lot of success. And again, fantastic school, great location. As you know, this whole area is really growing, and from a standpoint of it's a great public institution that we have retain our students at a high level and graduate them at a high level. And so that's where I wanted to really come back closer to home, be able to work with student athletes for 4 years, build that relationship with them and see them flourish. Actually, I had one of my former players stop by yesterday. Matt Spencer was our starting goalkeeper in 2017 that won our first championship when I was here in 2017, our first championship. And now he's a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps. So seeing him, it's great, and catching up. It's always great to see the guys that come back and hang out with them. So, yeah.
Well, one thing I can think about as a college coach is you get to do it full time. You don't have to, like, if you're a high school coach or whatever, or a club coach, you might have to have other jobs. So that's the benefit. But the soccer itself is what is it? What is being a college coach as opposed to being a high level club coach with great players or a pro level coach? What is the task of a college coach that makes it so unique and challenging?
So, you kind of go in different seasons, which I like. It kind of, you have our main season now. Obviously, it's fast and furious, roughly 20 games in unfortunately, a very compact time. So you're really focused in on the training, lots of video sessions, individually, small groups, studying our opponents. At the same time, the recruiting, which never stops. In college athletics, it's got to be at the very top of that. Again, without the good players, the quality players we have and people we have, we couldn't have the success we've had. So that is never ending, which, is really starting up now. You have several tournaments, ECNL tournament, Bethesda tournament, there's New Jersey tournament. So we shift gears. Hopefully we keep progressing, keep winning, and go to the Final Four. That's our ultimate goal, like the 1997 team here at Mary Washington. But as the season ends towards December, again, it shifts to recruiting, heavy recruiting, and through the spring, kind of lets up a little bit around the holiday time. But again, we have to really stay focused in that area to try to pick up the best people with the set skills that we're looking for. And obviously academics are a high priority for us. Then it shifts gears a little bit in the spring. So we have a little bit more freedom from a standpoint. It's really the ball is in the court of the players. So Division III, you're allowed 16 practice opportunities, but our players are extremely disciplined and very motivated. So they take it upon themselves, our leadership within the team, and they're training 5 days a week on their own. And that we're fortunate enough to have 2 full-time strength coaches that are just for varsity athletics here at Mary Wash. We have our own varsity weight room. So they're in the weight room Monday, Wednesday, Friday on top of that. We also do a lot of community service. Last year, we led the university in community service. We had, amongst our entire team, 363 community service hours. So we work a lot with Micah Ministries in the area to help either serve the homeless population, help. Maybe I'll give you an example. Warren Buffett's sister used to live downtown. She used to purchase homes in the area that we would come in and tear out the flooring or carpeting and paint the walls, where we could help out to get a family that needs to get back on their feet into a home, a place to live. So between that and study hall and those other things, the academic component, we're pretty busy in our non-traditional season. We're very fortunate this spring. On top of that, we're going to take our team to Costa Rica.
Oh, awesome.
So we'll do a really, we're excited. We're allowed a trip every 4 years. So this will be our second trip since I've been here. And so we're going to go to Costa Rica. We will do some community service projects there. Also play 3 friendlies against U20 professional teams. The guys will get the zip line, whitewater raft, and surfing lessons.
Oh,
And
that's
just to be together, right? My family's going to go down. I think we have maybe 42, 43 individuals are going to come down, including some family members too. So very excited.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'd like to maybe come along with you there, Coach.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then really it kind of transitions, we're out in the end of April school. So then we've placed our players with USL2 teams, MPSL teams. I can't even keep up with U20 team, U23 teams also, right? So we have, again, disciplined players that want to play at the highest level, and really we want to maximize their potential, right? We want to really maximize, so when they're done their 4 years, they can look back and like, hey, we've got everything out of them that we could, right? And so that's a big part of the placement for the summer. Then they have the workout. And then for us as coaching staff, it transitions more to youth camps, ID camps, and then we're back in the summer, mid-August, and hit the field again.
Well, what's your philosophy on recruiting? I know NC Wesleyan, you're all around the world, but here at Mary Washington, I mean, you have access to a great soccer area in Northern Virginia, but the whole state is through the CCL and other leagues. The whole state has really gone up a level. So how do you recruit your kids, and do you use the transfer portal for maybe Division I kids who want more playing time and things like that?
That's a great question. So I try to, first and foremost, we look at the person. First and foremost, we're looking at, do they tick the box academically? Do they have the high character qualities we're really looking for? Are they a good person? Are they a team person, a really good teammate, trustworthy? These things are very, very important for us, right? Over the years, I've done it quite a few years, and I feel like the better we get that area, the better we have, better our opportunities to have some success, right? Because again, they're all bought in. Then obviously you have to have a certain skill set we're looking for positionally. And we're really start from, I would say, locally, and we've had some really good local players, and then we kind of branch out from there. So locally, I say the Fredericksburg area, because there are we've had some really good, like all region level players at this level that kind of maybe slip through the cracks. And then I try to branch out again, spread the blanket across Virginia. As you know, Northern Virginia is a hotbed, those areas. And then we've even gone up into Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, New York. And again, we'll look anywhere. But try to find, and I also lean on a lot of our high school and club coaches because again, they have a good understanding of that person, that player, individual player, and what makes them tick. What are their qualities as a person, as a player? Will they fit in with us? And I think, again, years and years of doing this, it helps to have good people first and foremost from good families. So, and then you said the transfer market. Yeah, we've glanced at it. If you look at our roster, we have one current transfer that I had recruited when he came out of high school, and he went to junior college, and now he's here doing really well. And other than that, I don't have any. Not to say that I wouldn't take them, but I prefer 4-year students that we can mold over the 4 years and really build that relationship with them.
Yeah. Well, Coach, my son was a midfielder at Yorktown. He was Tristan Kickbush's teammate, and they had that legendary regional final game against one of your star players, Carter Berg. You may have even been there for that game. But my son is like a lot of, club players, pretty high level club players that end up going to college and not play soccer. And then he's got a lot of friends at UVA there that were great players in the area, like Kevin Poplawski, who you know from, and what are the decision points that these kids have to make? There's a lot of kids that can play at Division III, or at least on a roster somewhere. Maybe they're not on your starting 11. But what are the kind of the thought process these kids have to go through if you're going to play college soccer? Because oftentimes they go to Mary Washington or other schools, there's a lot of good players there, and you can't play all of them. So they have to decide how badly they want to play soccer, or whether they should just focus on the school that they want to go to academically the most.
Yeah. I believe, again, we want that person that's 100% certain this is what they want to do, because it is not easy. I don't care what division, it doesn't matter about the division, right? It is another level of expectation from the academic part, as far as like individual study hall for us, from, again, the training in the weight room, video sessions, and again, travel. And so we want individuals who are highly motivated. And again, all the top teams, college coaches are looking for those same types of guys. So I think that's the first part that when I ask a student athlete or a coach about a player, hey, do they want to do this? They're really talented. And I'm like, well, that's a red flag for me. If there's like any hesitation, because it will not be easy. Nothing worth having is going to come easy, right? And trying to find players who are resilient, who have internal drive, because we see them. Again, the 4 years, I believe, if you go and ask our players that look back and they'll say it was well worth it, and they've had some roller coaster rides. I can tell you 2 or 3 players, our starting goalkeeper, who was MVP of our tournament recently, he sat behind a regional All-American for 3 years. And to his credit, he's in his 5th year right now. And he's had a hell of a go, a great run, saved 2 penalty kicks in the final to secure the win. And actually, I've gotten goosebumps just thinking about it. Our captain center back, same thing. His first 2 years, he played minimal minutes, but he didn't whine. He didn't complain. He just wanted to know what he needs to do. And he did what we asked him to. Same with Griffin, our goalkeeper, same with several guys, right? So that's why when I go back to the character part, right? I always tell our guys, our incoming new players all the time, hey, you're going to have to earn every minute you get. And you're probably the first year, no matter where you go, will be extremely challenging. Again, you have to juggle the academics. You're playing probably most likely for the first time with guys that are maybe 22, 23 years old, understand the importance of these games and can deal with the pressure and the training every day. It's really high level of intensity.
Yeah.
And so, we're looking for those motivated players. So, and it's a challenge. And I especially now, as you know, your son's involved, we are seeing a lot of players that are saying, hey, I'm going to take a gap year. And I'm like, I'm not sure if you're, because what we're seeing is this, it's getting, it's getting piled up, because now you have all those transfers, and then there's another whole part of this international thing. I think now like 50% of Division I rosters are international. So it's very small amount of people, very, very small percentage of players are going to be able to play at the next level. So if you find something that fits you academically and athletically and socially and financially, I would highly suggest jump on it.
Yeah, 100%, as you said. So, well, Coach, let's get to this incredible team that you had. You won the Coast2Coast Conference tournament in an incredible penalty shootout. First of all, the Coast2Coast Conference, it seems, I don't want to say strange, but you got these two teams in California, you got teams in Michigan. There's all these great Division III teams in Virginia, like Washington Lee, there's Lynchburg, there's Marymount, there's so many teams. It seems a little bit strange to me that this conference is so spread out.
And so several teams left our conference and basically left Christopher Newport, us, and Salisbury. So we found some other institutions that needed a home. And we wanted to keep our automatic qualifier, so the AQ.
Oh, gotcha.
So that allows us to keep the AQ. It's pretty unique it's very strong conference. Plattsville also received a Pool C bid. So 3 teams from Christopher Newport, us, and University of Wisconsin Plattsville are going to will be in the NCAA tournament. But there are several schools like Salisbury strong. UC Santa Cruz is also a very strong school. Whitewater from Wisconsin. So our conference is extremely strong. So last year we hosted the finals here at Mary Washington. This year was at Salisbury. Next year is at UC Santa Cruz.
Well, that'd be awesome.
It'll be awesome. So we'll get to take our flyer guys out. A great experience, and we're looking forward to that also. So it allows us basically to have an AQ. You have to have, I believe, 6 teams right now, 6 teams in your conference to have an automatic qualifier. So the winner of the tournament advances.
Right.
But a lot of us in our conference also play an extremely difficult schedule, challenging schedule. So we can put ourselves in a position to get a Pool C bid. For example, Christopher Newport does a fantastic job, and they had a really hard schedule also like us. I think we're in the top 10 in the nation for strength of schedule. And so they got to receive a Pool C bid also, and Plattsville because of their strong schedule and results.
Yeah. Well, and also, does that travel help you recruit? Do the kids want to go to California? Is that like a benefit to you?
I think it's I think it's pretty cool from a perk I would agree. Hey, next year we're going to California. We're going to take the group. We'll probably, I don't know, leave on a Tuesday and games start on Thursday, Friday, somewhere around that time. Yeah.
But you play in regular season too, though. So
so we don't have to. So what we do is we're not obligated to play the teams in the conference.
Got it. Okay.
We play Salisbury and Christopher Newport because they're close to us.
I got it. Yeah.
And they're a strong team, strong opponents.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old days in basketball before the Big East. There was the ECAC, and it was groups together just to get automatic bids for the NCAA basketball. I guess probably soccer as well. But let's talk about your team. I know you just had a great conference tournament when you revenged a loss to Salisbury. I guess you'd been on a winning streak, and then you won the penalty final game. That was against who was
Christopher Newport.
One of your arch rivals, Christopher Newport.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about your team first. I know you got a leading scorer, Josh Kirkland, and then you got Carter Berg, who I think is a great kid. Talk about your team a little bit.
Yeah, so you're right. We have a young team, still pretty young. Last year was a tough one. We lost here in the final to another, again, Christopher Newport strong. We're very similar, two really quality teams. We have a group that's really put in a lot of work in the off season to get to where we are now, because again, we talk about this all the time. It starts months and months before we even get, to August. And so we had, again, I told you we've had a top 10 team as far as strength of schedule in the country. So we try to play the best teams. I think we played this season from the following season, like between 8 to 10 NCAA teams. Right. So we want to play the best opponents we can, because again, we want to show them where the bar is. Also, playing the best teams kind of opens you up and kind of exposes you, right, a little bit. Like, hey, we're pretty good here, but we're deficient a little bit here, so we need to tighten it up. And so I think that's part of the growth process. So yeah, we've had a good group of returning players. We've returned a lot of starters from the past year. That's kind of goes back to I told you I like 4-year players. So again, we have a lot of continuity, and there's not a lot of this and this, right? Up and downs. I think that's where, if you look, we've been fortunate enough to play in the last 6 conference championships, and fortunate enough to win the last, 4 of those, right? 17, 18, 19, and this year. And a lot of that is because of the continuity with the team. They understand each other, they play with each other, they bought this camaraderie and this friendship and love for each other. And again, it's not about the individuals. Yeah, we have some special individuals that do their job really well, but it's more importantly about the group and how they come together and understand the tactical side and what their goals are ultimately. The best part about this group, and it happened several years ago, actually, one of my former players, Justin Carey, who's now the head coach at Eastern Mennonite University, He was a first team All-American here and first team Scholar All-American.
Wow.
And he was one of a few guys that came to us years ago and said, hey, how are we want to be a consistently top 25 team, and we want to compete for conference championships. How are we going to go about this? Well, I said, hey, we're allowed 16 practice opportunities with our coaching staff in the spring. But if you want to organize the group and really take the bull by its horns and organize the training part, and again, we can't have anything legally to do with it, but again, it's just the ownership. So what I want to get to is it's unbelievable, the ownership of the group that kind of run the program. We kind of just, I say we, myself and the staff kind of just oversee here and there, but there's nothing better to see the buy-in of the players, the commitment, the love and the drive, the internal drive that they have, that is something special. And I had never really experienced it until several years ago when I saw it firsthand, and guys were explaining to guys, this is how we do things here. This is how we operate. And I didn't have to step in and say anything.
Yeah. It's almost like when you have the golden retrievers and you bring a new dog in, and they teach the new one how to do it. And you're like, hey,
yeah,
that was really easy.
And I think you'll see with our players, they're welcoming of the new players that help them get acclimated to the process and help them through. We have, family structure, family systems where our upperclassmen have small, 3 or 4 players underneath of them. So they meet with them for lunch or breakfast once a week at least. Again, talk with them about any kind of issues they have or the struggles. We know they're going to have struggles. We all have struggles, right? And start trying to get through those difficult challenges of, hey, I was first team All-State. I was this, and now I'm not playing as much. I'm not playing the significant role they want to play at this moment, and trying to help them walk through like, hey, if you do this, this, and this, you'll be just like this guy in another year or so. It just takes time. It's a different age, as you know. I have children too, and we want an instant gratification right now. And so it just doesn't come that easy. It just takes time.
Well, when the kids, and I'll get back to the season, when the kids don't play, do you ever hear from their parents?
No, we started years ago where we meet with the parents right during when they drop them off, and have a nice meeting with them and kind of just go over the expectations of what we're trying to get these young men prepared for, and ultimately prepare for their next employer, right? Who's going to be paying their bills. And so we want them to build a relationship with us the same that will be with their employer. Hey, when you have an issue, hey, I want that raise. Well, how do you get that raise? Well, maybe you need to do this, this, and this. And so we say, hey, if there are issues that are, some really major family issues or something, that we'll help. Whatever we can do to help. But when it comes to playing time and soccer aspect, just have your son come to us. We're going to be transparent, walk them through, explain the best we can. And again, back to the family system. I think it also helps when they get to speak with some of the upperclassmen who have been through those challenging moments. And maybe because they look at those players and they say, oh man, they idolize that guy, or, like, man, he's doing so well. He's had so much success. I can name several guys, but if you saw them their first year, it wasn't probably the same.
Yeah.
So.
Describe the playing style of this group that you have.
Yeah, so we've trained a couple different formations, anywhere from 4-5-1, 4-3-3, 3-5-2. Again, it depends on their opponent. We play out of the back when we can. We teach visual cues or clues of when you can. If they're pressing us really strongly, again, we're probably going to release it and go forward, try to play with the space that they give us in behind. We try to build when we can. Again, it depends on the team, the opponent. And yes, again, we do like to, press when we can. When we don't have the ball, we want to get the ball back. We want the ball. And when we have it, we want to play and build and try to expose guys wide, or, create numbers up situations as much as possible. But again, we're not, I see a lot in club, not high school club, doesn't matter, where I feel like teams are just building in, hey, just play at the back, play at the back. And I get it. My son's 9 years old. He needs to understand how to play at the back. But then eventually I feel like you're going to have to teach them when they can play at the back, and when they can't, based on the other team, right? So you've probably been around where you'll see teams that press, and the team keeps playing out of the back, and they get the ball stripped, and it goes in the back of their net, and they never change. And you hear them say, they play the beautiful game. Oh, I'm not sure if you're playing a beautiful game or a dumb game, but you have to think, right? We want guys that can think on the quickly and adjust. So
That reminds me. So my son used to play for Joga, and we used to try to play the right way, beautiful way. So we went over to Holland, and we were playing against Dutch teams, and we were getting drilled. These guys were so good. So we had one of the Dutch guys was coaching our team, and after a while, he just started having our kids kick the ball long and up, and then play it back, and he just solved the problem so quickly. It was just so funny. We thought we had to play out the back to play the right way, and we had this Dutch coach, total football, and he was like, "No, let's release this pressure, get the ball in, let's play some soccer." And it's just so funny how we get wed to, doing things the right way. And
well, they just see, I understand the concept.
Yeah.
And I understand, especially with young players early on in their careers, and just, again, trying to teach when you can and when you have to go long sometimes, right? Because once you go long a few times, usually that team forgets. Well, one, the space isn't behind. They forget, they drop off. Like you said, now you can play a little more relaxed.
Exactly. Well, I'm really excited about your matchup with Marymount. I'm sure you probably know something about it. You probably recruited or at least talked to some of these kids. I know Tristan had a great goal against Byron Benegas. We beat Lewis 1-0 last year. It was a very two very high level teams. So yeah, it was great. So what do you know about Marymount, and what do you think some of the keys to success are?
Yeah, I think Marymount is obviously Coach Nate has done a fantastic job there. They won their conference first time in school history.
Oh, awesome.
So it's got to be extremely exciting for him. I know he works extremely hard. I see him on the road all the time. He has a lot of quality players, right? I know some of the players we recruited, spoke to several of their players and know them from the Northern Virginia area. I know he has a few from Florida. And I think that they're extremely organized. They can score goals. They're dangerous, and definitely in the final third. I know they have one really, really good striker who I think has more than 15 goals, which is a lot. And so I think we have to be extremely organized. We have to be good on set pieces and restarts, those things that at every level are extremely, extremely important. And then we have to be disciplined, right? From the emotional standpoint. So this is another part of when you get to, again, the championship games, the same thing. You have to have discipline from all the players and keep their cool and understand that, again, that's a huge part of the game. I know they're excited, and sometimes that excitement can be a good thing, but can also be a negative thing. Depends on what how we go about our business. Because there are going to be a lot of fans here. They'll travel really well, and I know it wouldn't surprise me if there's more than 1,000 fans here at the game. So
yeah, well, how does that? So the game is at Mary Washington.
Yes, sir.
Hope folks that listen to this will go, because I plan on going down and taking some photos.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can't wait. Hopefully, maybe I get a chance to meet you. Do you? Is the fact that you don't have football, does that make this a bigger game at Mary Washington? The fact that soccer is a big sport.
That's a great question. Yeah, we're pretty unique. I don't know if you've heard, but our homecoming is, several other teams play, but I feel like it's the main event, men's and women's game, because we have tailgating, and I would suspect anywhere from over 3,000 fans at our homecoming event.
That's awesome.
And so we were fortunate. We played CNU this year. We beat them at homecoming. And so it is an unbelievable environment. I think if you asked any of our alums and current players, they'll tell you that's one of the most memorable experiences, to play in front of so many thousands of people in a great, it was a fantastic, 70-degree day. I wish it was like that every day, right? Yeah. But it was just a really great venue, and our athletic staff does a fantastic job of organizing everything. And yeah, so I think it could be maybe not that many people at this event, but again, it wouldn't surprise me if there's 1,000 people at our game. So we're excited. That's exciting, right? For soccer coach or soccer players, you don't have that opportunity often to play in front, to be the main event. And so at Mary Washington, soccer is one of again, we have fantastic sports here. We have really good teams our volleyball team is currently women's volleyball is hosting the NCAA tournament also. They're doing really well. And so again, it's nice to have an event where two events now on campus that again are really important for the university and for our student athletes.
Well, awesome. Well, Coach, well, thanks again. And this is my last question. Is the tournament very, is there parity in like these brackets, or do you have a situation where certain brackets will have lots of great teams because it's probably more regional than you'd see in a basketball NCAA Division I tournament? So, you know, are you going to have parity? Every game could be a unique challenge in the NCAA?
I think I would agree. I think there is parity. I think when you have a situation where it's do or die in their minds, in the players' minds, that I think that it definitely brings out the best in two programs that are going head to head. It's often very similar to a conference tournament. You'll see these upsets. You're like, how did that happen? Right? How was that possible? And I think it's possible when maybe, again, emotions are involved, or maybe the lack of emotions. And I don't think there are going to be any lack of emotions in the NCAA tournament. But I'm talking about maybe sometimes when players, we do a lot of work with sports psychology, right? So we have a sports psychologist we work with. And so all the time, every day, we're talking about it. I'm to the point where I'm sure our players like, you know, what's going on? But again, you know, the mental preparation. You have a game script or match script. You have game face, how you're going to handle yourself in these situations. And you ultimately have to get yourself up for whoever you're playing. It doesn't matter, regardless of the result or what the results they've had. It doesn't matter. But as you know, in this day and age, I mean, they can look up every stat on every team. And so really have to work with them on, like, I don't care if that team is, you know, again, Salisbury is a really good team. Their record is not an indication of their level. So then they walk in, and you said earlier, hey, we got nipped by a really good coach. My former assistant, Zach McDougall, is the head coach at Salisbury. Fantastic person, great coach, and he's going to do really well there. And so if your energy level's not up and you're not prepared mentally, anything can happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, again, Coach, I really appreciate your time. I know it's a busy week. You got the new puppy at home. And I also wish you luck this week. Hopefully I can come down and watch the game and see some great soccer. Great.
That's awesome. What year is your son?
So my son, Chandler Brown, he was the Yorktown 2022. And so he played club at Alexandria for Tommy Park. And he also
played the Marymount grad.
Yeah, exactly. I did an interview with Tommy. He's a great guy. Runs a good program.
Yeah, he does. He's done unbelievably well there. I just spoke to him yesterday. Fantastic person, and yeah, he's done some great things with that club.
Yeah, he really has. He's really unique, and he's built something really wonderful. And you know, with the futsal, getting the whole city behind him, and the programs to help the maybe the more underprivileged players. And stuff.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, he really thinks outside the box, and he's taken a program. Alexandria was not on par with the great clubs in the DC area, and there's so many of them, as you know.
Right.
And he's really put Alexandria, you know, right there near the top. So it's been great what he's done.
No, I'm happy for him. He's done a great job.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time. Definitely, it's a pleasure talking with you. I'm glad you again. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it was great, Coach. I love your views of the game, and I think you provided the kids a lot of nuggets. Not just kids that are playing, but kids that are in high school and thinking about the next level. I thought you provided a lot of nuggets, a lot of wisdom today.
Good. Well, if you ever need anything else, feel free to reach out.
I sure will, Coach. Hopefully, I'll see you on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, buddy. Good luck.
Yeah. Bye.